X27 Part 2. In this second series on X27, we will continue to look at the prophetic narrative of X27. In the first series, we learned that Paul took his fourth and last journey in two ships. We have looked at the first one, which is the ship of Adramitium, which is a ship that decided to abide in death, which symbolizes two institutions, SDA and USA. They rejected the first angel's message that was to bring life, and they chose death. We now continue with the journey picking up from Murwira, where the ship of Adramitium ended. This time with the second ship of Alexandria. Alexandria means the protector or defender of people. This ship transported wheat from Egypt to Rome, which fed the whole Roman Empire. In 1798, God's people leave spiritual Egypt and take their journey on institutions which God has raised, SDA and USA. The institutions are good. USA granted people religious freedom and Adventism freed from papal errors. On this context, we see that these two institutions are good and protect the people. Paul boards the ship at Murwira, where Adramitium ended. Murwira means bitterness, so this takes us to a waymark associated with bitterness, just after 1798. It's in 1844 where the Millerites are bitterly disappointed because the second advent didn't occur. Externally, a bitter rivalry ran for presidential elections. Politically, the two major parties had tried several compromises to preserve the union between the North and the South, but the division culminated in the Civil War. After sailing slowly for many days, they came to Cnidus. There the ship went off course and never got back to its path again. In 1863, Adventists rejected the 2520, rejecting the prophetic message which had taken them out of darkness. From then, Adventism never recovered and never went back to its path, which God had designed for His church. USA government failing to stand by its constitution, which had separated church and state. It also failed to protect inalienable rights of all people. The unfavorable winds forced them to head south, sail under Crete and over against Salmon. Crete means fleshy, which can be understood as canal, sold under sin. Adventism is under prophetic sin during the period of 1863 to 1989. In 1863, Adventists rejected the prophetic message which God has given them. The institution changed course and lived in sin. The same applies to America. When the winds blew softly, they sailed close to Lasea. Lasea means wise. In 1989, the first angel arrives. Daniel 11:40-45 is unsealed. Students of prophecy begin running to and from, and the wise understand as they receive an increase of knowledge. As they were about to leave Lasea, Paul cautioned the captain about the dangers they could face if they continued. Winter was approaching and people's lives were at risk. Nevertheless, the captain chose not to listen to Paul. Not long after they left, the ship encountered an east wind, Euroclydon. So sudden was the blow that the sailors had not a moment in which to prepare, and they could only leave the ship to the mercy of the tempest. The condition of the ship was hopeless. They then undergirded the ship with ropes to keep the ship from falling apart. Could the two institutions, USA and Adventism, be destroyed in 2001? Yes. Adventism fell deeper into darkness as spiritual formation was endorsed. This made them fail to recognize the events leading to the Sunday law. USA misleads the world with a false worldview and identifying Islam as a threat to its democracy and the world at large. Another line that testifies to this is the history of Ezra leaving Babylon carrying the third decree on the first day of the first month. 2001 is the first day of the first month, and the events leading to the Sunday law can be identified. God's people began using line upon line methodology as from 2001. This method of study is the only hope for keeping Adventism intact. The prisoners sailed under much hardship day and night. The state of the ship seemed hopeless, even after throwing all luggage at the sea. Paul then stood among prisoners and delivered the message which the angel of God had told him, that not even one soul was going to die. Everyone was going to safely land to the shore, but the ship was going to be destroyed. This scenario typifies 2019. The prediction about the Sunday law was given, that the test was not going to be about Sabbath worship as everyone expected, but was going to be on equality. On the 14th night at midnight, the shipmen spotted the land and measured its distance. With speed and distance, you can calculate time of arrival. And the time is really what the shipmen were calculating. Although Paul was a prisoner, he was really the master of the ship, the freest and happiest man on board. It's at midnight cry when Samuel Snow gave a message of time, predicting when the close of probation would be. From the midnight cry, the 144,000 are the masters of the ship, the leaders of Adventism, and USA, the leader of the UN. The ship crashed on an island, and the passengers were safe. This fulfills the hopeful message given to Paul that he will save his chosen people. Unfortunately, God could not save the ship which represents the SDA structure. The fall is complete, and at the Sunday law, the SDA is replaced by the movement of the 144,000. We also see externally USA as the sixth kingdom of Bible prophecy, coming to its end, and it's replaced by the seventh kingdom. The parallel story of the two ships which repeat and enlarge the story of the two institutions, SDA and USA, begins their journey at the same point in history and come to their end at the same point at the end of the world. Amen.